I always knew that I wanted to do some sort of design work as a career, and I didn't know what it was until later in college. But growing up, I was always told that designers and artists just don't make a lot of money. You're poor and you better make sure that it's something you love because you're going to struggle. And that really turned me off from pursuing a career as a designer. But again, it wasn't until later in college that I started doing some freelance web design work. And before I knew it, I had a full fledged web design agency that was making me a bunch of money. And it became my full time career. So it wasn't until just recently where I finally realized that making $1 million is actually within reach. It's actually something that we could accomplish. And so in this video, what I want to do is I want to break down every year of my business. And I want to talk to you about the revenue that we made every year. And I also want to talk to you about the things that I changed and the things that I learned every single year to put me where I am right now. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to share with you the goals and the plans that I have in order to reach $1 million. Plus, at the very end, I'm going to share with you something that I've been doing that I've been hesitant to share, but it could quite possibly be the most profitable way to use your web design skills. So let's get into it. So the goal of this video is to be really transparent and just honest about everything that I've done up to this point, how much I've made, the mistakes that I made, the things that we've done right. And I'm going to basically just open it up to everything to you. But my hope with all of this is that it doesn't come across as arrogant. If nothing else, I'm making this video so I can, number one, hold myself accountable to you guys and I can make these goals and tell you where I'm going to be, and hopefully that will motivate me. But also I hope that it'll motivate you and it will kind of raise our vision as designers to what's really possible. And so with all of that being said, I want to dive right into it by starting telling you about my first year that I started my business, which was 2018. Now in 2018, I was at the end of my college career. I had a few classes left, but I was kind of just trudging along. I wasn't really serious about college. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had a summer job where I was doing pest control sales just because that was the only thing that I knew to make money at. And I was kind of in a weird spot in my life. But again, I always knew that I liked design. And I took a class that showed us how to build a website. And I was really fascinated and I really enjoyed it. And so what I did is I started to learn Wix. And I built a couple of Wix websites for a few friends of mine towards the end of 2018. And really quickly, I realized that I loved this type of freelance work. It was really fun to learn about a business and to create a website and deliver it and get paid. And it just seemed like a really easy way to make money. Now, because at this time we were in a really tiny college apartment, I did most of my web design work from the couch in the basement of our apartment. And if I wasn't working there in our apartment, I was spending time during my classes building these sites. And there was more than once where my teacher would have to ask me, like, dude, put your stuff away, focus on what we're doing right here. And I'm sure it was really annoying because I was just so checked out of college and so focused on these freelance projects that it was like nothing could deter me. I just loved it. And so through the end of 2018, I really hustled. I think I built like 3 or 4 websites and was able to make a good amount of money. In fact, at the end of 2018, we ended up making $14,836, which was just huge for me. At that time, my door-to-door sales job was probably paying me between $40,000 and $50,000, but the $15,000 that I had made as a freelancer meant more to me than that sales money or all the money in the world, quite honestly. Like something about having generated that money from nothing with just my own services, my own business, it was just incredible. It was the greatest feeling ever. And all of a sudden, I started to realize, hey, I could start doing more of this and I could really make a good amount of money. And so going into 2019, I had a new vision and I was ready to just dive in full force and bring on as many projects as I could and make as much money as possible. So at the start of 2019, I made a really big goal. Okay, the last year we had made $14,000. And so moving into 2019, I made a commitment and a goal that I was going to make over $50,000 designing and selling websites. And at the time, this seemed crazy. I wasn't sure if I was going to hit it, but I knew that if I set a lofty goal, at the very least, I would maybe come close. And so I put my head down and I went to work. I was able to get a lot of clients through word of mouth, through friends and family, and it made it really easy to kind of have that organic growth at the start. And before I knew it, I was building a bunch of websites and it was going really, really well. Now, about midway through 2019, there were two things that absolutely changed the course of my business and my life. And the first of those was finding a web design tool called Webflow. Now, this isn't a sponsored video for Webflow. I don't get paid by them. I'm actually not even an affiliate for Webflow. But Webflow is a tool that absolutely changed the way that I build websites, the value of the websites that I was building, and I was also able to build them literally twice as fast. And so it helped me to kind of get to that next level where people would look at my websites and say, wow, like this is worth more than just a few $100s. And so Webflow was a game changer. And about halfway through 2019, I dove in all the way, full force, and I decided that I was never going to build a website on any other platform other than Webflow. Now, the second thing that made a huge, huge, huge difference for my business was adding recurring revenue, because about mid 2019, I was already starting to feel the burn. I was thinking like, oh my gosh, it is a lot of work to find new clients every single month. And it was also nerve-wracking for me and my wife going into the start of every month knowing that if we don't find a new client, we're not going to make any money. And this was really scary. And so we started to think, well, there's got to be a better way to kind of do something monthly where we're getting paid every single month, regardless of how many new clients we find. And so I started to do some research, and it was natural that the thing that kind of made the most sense was SEO, because it went hand in hand with websites. Now, SEO is helping these websites get ranked on Google, and I dove into learning. I spent thousands of dollars on courses, and within just a few months' time, I felt confident enough to start offering these as monthly services. And it was really cool how quickly our monthly recurring revenue grew as I started to reach out to the clients that I had already built websites for and offered SEO for a few $100 a month. And before I knew it, we had a few $1,000s every month in automatic recurring revenue, which gave us a really nice safety net. It gave us consistency and predictability, and it allowed us to begin to scale a lot more quickly. So by the end of 2019, we had blown way past our goal of $50,000, and we had made $76,356, which ended up being about a 414% increase or growth over that first full year of our business, which was insane. And I knew that going into 2020, it was going to be a life-changing year, and that's exactly what it was. So 2020 hit, and I was hungry, and I felt like there was no ceiling on what we could accomplish. I was feeling really, really motivated. So I set a goal for $150,000 that year, and I thought that it was doable. Yes, it was basically doubling what we had done the year before, but I felt like if we could continue to scale the way we were, that we could definitely hit that. And so I dove in, started landing a ton of new web design clients. We started raising the prices. I started selling sites for $7,000, $8,000, even $10,000. And before I knew it, we were on track to hit that goal. Now, about halfway through the year, there were two things that completely changed the trajectory of the business, and that was starting this YouTube channel, which proved to be a really great source of new clients. And then I also launched an SEO course, which I think that year we had about 220 new students. And so that ended up being a really awesome source of revenue that helped us blow past our goal by a lot. By the end of 2020, we had made $231,069. And so we blew way past our goal by about $80,000. And it was all because we started to diversify our services and the things that we were doing. I was putting more time into YouTube and my courses. And I really started to realize that this thing truly didn't have a ceiling. I could bring on team members. I could hire new people. And so towards the end of that year, I brought on a designer, a project manager. I started outsourcing SEO, and things were really starting to take shape, and we were starting to catch a lot of momentum. So we made it to 2021, and by this point, we had a really smooth operation. I had put team members in place, and I was able to start delegating things. And at the start of this year, I was able to remove myself almost completely from client work. So I wasn't building or designing websites. I wasn't doing SEO campaigns. I was almost exclusively doing sales and then kind of bigger picture things. So I would spend a lot of time now on sales calls, closing new clients, and then, of course, just thinking of ways to move the business forward and training my team members, anything that we can to continue to grow and scale. And so at this point, we've got about 20 to 25 different SEO clients at any given time, and we're building a lot of bigger websites. In fact, this year, we built a $75,000 Webflow site, which was incredible for us. It really helped us raise our vision and see really how much you can charge for a website. And so this year has been an absolute whirlwind. I've learned a lot about leadership, about outsourcing and delegating, and I'm still definitely learning. And we're having a lot of struggles along the way, which is totally normal. And I'm happy that we get to have those experiences and to learn and to grow from them. But 2021 has been huge. We came into this year thinking, hey, that would be great if we could hit $400,000. And right now we are currently on track to make just over $600,000 between our web design and SEO work, and then also course sales, which have reached over 500 at this point. And then the YouTube channel is really growing as well. And so we've started to diversify where we're putting our efforts and the things that we're doing. And this year is going to be really, really big for us. Now, what I want to say here before I move forward and talk to you about our goals to make $1 million next year, I just want to take a brief moment to thank my team and those of you that have bought my course and trusted me with your hard-earned money. Because at this point, I realize just how important it is to provide value, whether that's your client work, courses, a YouTube channel, whatever else it is. You can't do these things just to make money. You have to be focused on the value that you're providing for people. So thank you, all of you that have supported me in this journey. All right, so moving forward to 2022, the big question is, what am I going to do differently in order to go from $600,000 to $1 million in revenue? And there are a couple of things that I've written down that I want to share with you all that I feel like are going to help me push past that $1 million mark while also growing my team and increasing the value of our services and landing new clients, and also breaching into a few new services and realms that we haven't really worked in before. And at the end of this part of the video, I want to share with you again something that we're doing right now that I feel like could potentially be something that will make tens of millions of dollars. And it's something that only you and I, people with web design and SEO experience, can actually do. And so I think it's going to be really, really helpful. But as for the goals that I wrote down for 2022 in order to accomplish this goal, the first is I want to grow my team and obviously take on more projects. Now, by doing this, I'm going to have to learn to delegate leadership activities more and bring people more into leadership roles where they can then check in on our other team members and just continue to grow the leadership within my agency, Pate Digital. The next thing that I would really like to do is increase our site pricing. By doing this, we're going to be able to take on bigger projects so we don't have as many kind of random small projects floating around, which makes it really difficult to manage and scale. So we're going to increase pricing, and I would really like in 2022 for our web design and development branch of our business to bring in between $300,000 and $400,000 in revenue. Now, when it comes to SEO, we've got big goals to double our SEO contracts, and we should, by 2022, be bringing in between $400,000 and $500,000 in revenue. Now, you can see just with design and SEO that we're getting really, really close to that goal, and it's going to take a lot of work on my part and the part of my team in order to scale to that point, but I feel like it's definitely possible. And a few things that I'm doing to make sure that we can accomplish these goals is, first off, we are really trying to put a focus on more, I don't want to say aggressive, but better outreach, and not wait so much for people to come to me through content or word of mouth, but I want to be more proactive about reaching people, getting in front of people, and then closing them as new clients. And so that's something that we're really focusing on. And then, of course, we're just putting a big focus on automating things that can be automated, and then making our process much more smooth. Our delivery, our revision processes, all of these are constantly going through different changes and updates to make sure that we're being as effective as possible. Now, my sales course in 2022, I'd like to put more effort into redoing that exact same course and continually bringing in new content, more value. We're going to be doing a lot within that course, and my goal is to bring in an additional 500 students. Now, again, my goal with this course is I never want to have refunds if that's possible. I want every single person that purchases the course to feel like it was the greatest deal of their life. And so we are constantly trying to increase the value of that course, but also I want to push that course more on my YouTube channel because I feel like it is by far the highest value that I offer. I feel like there's $50,000 worth of value in that. It's like a $600 course. And so I really want to focus on bringing in new students and providing a lot more value. Even aside from the course, we're going to be creating a private Slack channel and different resources as well along the way. So those course sales really need to come up, and we're going to put a big focus on that. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do to increase revenue even more is we're going to be starting some private coaching. Now, I don't know how we're going to do this yet. I don't know if they're just going to be one-off coaching sessions. We have also discussed some sort of kind of like private mentorship where it's a month-to-month thing or even a 3-month program. So we have yet to figure out what that's going to be, but I want to have a group of individuals that have taken my course but also are reaching those higher revenue goals and want to do some sort of mastermind with me where we can talk about the finer details of running an agency. So my hope is that we can build that private coaching and consulting and hopefully bring in an additional $100,000 next year. All right, so we've covered all of my goals for 2022. I know this has been kind of a long video, but I'm hoping that it's been really insightful for you guys. I could talk about this stuff forever. It's fun to talk about where I came from and then also the progress that we've seen and the things that I've learned. But the one thing that I want to share in this video, which is something that I've hesitated to share because I truly feel like this is something that could take me out of client work completely, away from selling courses. Like I would be willing to abandon all of those things if I can make this idea work. And this idea came as we were redesigning our site and we were trying to figure out how much revenue we generate for our clients. And I realized that we're literally generating millions of dollars every month for our clients. And we are taking maybe a fraction, a sliver of that every single month. And I started to realize that, man, we've got the perfect team in place to grow and scale a business online. And we're using all of our resources to do this for our clients. Now, I love doing that for my clients and I love when our clients succeed. But I also started to think, man, what would happen if we did this for our own businesses or for my own businesses? What if I could start building some digital online real estate? And by real estate, I mean like different websites and different niches and industries. And I started building those up as assets. Now, one thing that people ask me when I talk to them about this is what makes a website an asset? And really it comes down to traffic and authority. If I can build a website that gets tens of thousands of visitors and hundreds or thousands of leads, and then it kind of becomes an authoritative website, that's a massive, massive asset. And then at that point, I can either sell the leads that come through that site, or even better and easier is I can have somebody come in and just acquire that site from me and then utilize that in their business. Now, I realize that this is kind of a long shot and it's not really a sure thing. And it's been difficult for me because I've been investing thousands of dollars every month to start building some of this online real estate. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking because I don't know exactly what's going to come from it. But with that said, I truly feel like regardless of what happens, owning a website that gets traffic, like high quality traffic, that's always going to be a huge asset. And so I'm starting to put more time and focus and money into these businesses. And this really struck me when I was speaking with a client, and before they hired us, they said, yeah, we're not getting the traffic that we want, but there's this competitor that basically built a site and then just sells other people's products, and they have a really good organic presence. And so rather than hire me to do their SEO, this client was willing to spend like $1 or $2 million on this little niche site just because it had an organic presence. Like they were ready just to write a check for $2 million. And my mind was blown because I was thinking like, man, I could literally build that site and my SEO team could rank that in maybe 12 months and that would have been $2 million. And I couldn't believe at the opportunity that I was missing out on. So I'm getting a little bit excited here, but my plan is right now we are building a handful of these sites and we're kind of in this test mode. We're going to build them, start getting some traffic. We're not really negotiating any deals with anybody yet, but my hope is that I can have 3 or 4 of this kind of these websites that are digital real estate, and then hopefully start to put myself in a position where they could potentially get acquired. Now, if I can do one of these successfully, I'm pretty sure I'm going to drop most everything else that I'm doing and start focusing on these, because this, again, could potentially be something worth tens of millions of dollars. So if this is something that you're interested in, you might as well start building some of your own sites. Do it as a side project. It never hurts to have these additional assets. And this is something that I'm going to put more focus on because I truly believe that by the end of 2022, I could sell a couple of these assets for millions of dollars. Now, if it doesn't happen in 2022, we've still got our other plans and goals here to reach that $1 million. But I feel like as we diversify our efforts and where I'm investing my money, we've got a lot of great opportunities. So that's it for this video. I know that it was a long one, but thanks for sticking with me here till the end. If this was helpful, inspiring, please be sure to hit that like button down below. It helps me know if putting hours and hours into these types of videos is worth it. Also consider subscribing, and I look forward to catching you in the next video.